wasting so much precious time on your phone, like legit serious. Like I literally, so I'll keep like a timetable on like how long I do. I think last week, an entire week, I spent 21 minutes in total, not per day, in total of, whoops, it just dropped you, of just mindless scrolling. Seriously, like that was it. Because it's a waste of time and energy, right? Especially now, I mean, this is going to make me sound super old, but like back in my day when we didn't have all of that, like you knew like how to people, you had people skills. And yes, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say, oh my God, I love socials now. It's a big part of my business. It's a big part of me, but I don't spend unnecessary time scrolling because it's not worth it, right? You sit there and you lie to yourself and you say you don't have time, you don't feel like it. And then you get upset with yourself because then you start comparing yourself. You start comparing yourself to people on Instagram. You start comparing yourself. Well, why wasn't my life that way? I don't have time to do this. And grabbing your phone in the morning and grabbing your phone at night, big mistakes and biggest time energy wasters. I have clients who go, well, I've tried the whole, put the timer on my phone and let it like, I've even taken some people will take the apps off of their phone. I don't need to do that anymore. I never did actually, but, you can literally delete them off of your phone. A client of mine just the other day told me their friend, does it only on the weekends. So only like put it on the weekend, check up, do a couple scrolls and then get off and then delete that app for the entire week. I have other people who I've had, if it's really bad and you're always either checking your email, it's not just socials. If you're constantly checking your emails, you're always like glued to your phone at all times. I mean, unfortunately, it's a really big part of all of our lives, mine, yours, everybody else, right? It's a huge part of it, but it doesn't have to be this lifeline for you. And the more that you tell yourself you don't have time, the bigger of a lie that can be, because you have time. If you really paid attention to how much time you spend on the phone, you'd be surprised how much time you could actually get things done. Your problem is you either have this weird fear of missing out. You ain't missing out on anything. You're not missing out on anything. It's like if I go on TikTok, if I do go and I scroll for just a few mindless minutes, I don't go to the For You page. I go to my following page. Every now and again, I'll pop over in case I want to see new people or whatever, but I'm following you for a reason. I don't have to deal with political crap. I don't have to deal with things I don't need to look at. I don't have to deal with the hate. Like, I'm following you for a reason. So I'll go and I'll look at a few things and like, that's it. Then I'm done. Right now, I do spend some time on my YouTube if I'm like looking at a pattern for crochet or if I'm looking at a recipe. Yeah, I don't consider that scrolling. Instagram stories, something like that. That's not really scrolling. That's like listening to people's lives. Scrolling is when you're sitting there and you're doing the unnecessary. So you got to ask yourself why you're doing that. Don't tell me it's because you're bored. Because if you're bored, then you can work on yourself. Oh, I don't know that I want to do that. Don't care. Do not care. You are occupying yourself by distracting yourself. And I'm telling you, unless you are in that space to be able to say, okay, I don't need to do this. Now, you might see me post several things. That's in a scheduler. I don't have time, nor the energy to sit there and function on socials. I always tell you guys, don't turn on your notifications. None of my notifications are on, right? Don't do any of that. Your biggest thing too is you grab your phone first thing in the morning and you lay in bed and you look at it. Do not do that. I'll tell you what I do. It's like a reward system for me. Like I'll turn off my alarm. Like I have my alarm on this is my iPhone, but I have my alarm on my Samsung because iPhone alarms are like very violent. Like they wake you up and like a violent, but like with the Samsung, it's very nice and lullaby-ish. It's great. It wakes you up. And then that's it. I turn that off. I don't look at my phone. I don't look at any of that. And then I make sure that that's my time for me. So maybe that's your devotional time. Maybe that's your gratitude time. Maybe that's your workout time. Maybe that's just let me start my day time. You don't need your phone. All right. That's a big misconception that you have. Like, oh my God, I'm like, you don't need it. And it is proven. I studied human behavior. You know that. And like I study even more and more and the damages of socials and just spending too much time on the phone, not just for teenagers, for all of us, right? You do not grab your phone first thing in the morning and start looking at things, especially like if you have your own company or even if you're just working. You don't need to check your email at 3 a.m. No, you do not. No, you do not at 7 o'clock in the morning. Check it when you get to work. Check it if you have a designated time after you've had that time, right? It is a reward system for you to go, okay, I did this for myself. At night, Under no circumstances do you lay on your phone and just scroll social media. Just sit there and mindlessly do things. No, it is proven to be damaging for your sleep. It is stimulating. In your mind, you might be like, well, it's relaxing. Yeah, that's what you think. But your brain, every time you do this, right? Like you're seeing it. It's stimuli. You really shouldn't even be watching TV that much. I mean, I probably do a little bit more of that. And for me, the TV is usually on in the background while I'm crocheting. I can glance up, look at it, down. It's just more or less like noise, unless I'm intentionally watching a movie. But honestly, even if I'm watching a movie, I'm usually crocheting, or doing something like a planning or in my planner or something. But you are in control of it. Don't say you don't know how to do it. You just do it. Yeah, you do. Because nobody needs you that badly from work at 7:00 at night. You can answer that email tomorrow. It's all right. It is all right. Right? Because it's going to create a lot of problems for you if you don't. And you got to ask yourself, what are you trying to avoid? Because very often you're trying to avoid something. That's why you stay on social media. Oh, I got to put that laundry away. Or I could scroll on social media. Well, which one's more alluring? The social media, right? But you have to ask yourself what it is you're trying to avoid. Because the same part of you that goes, I want to feel better, I want to heal, I want to get my stuff done, and then you lie to yourself and you go, I don't have time. You got time. The socials are not that important. And be careful of what you follow. If it's not inspiring you, educating you, or entertaining you, why would you follow something that's triggering for you as far as like political stuff? Like, I don't follow political stuff, not because it triggers me, because I just don't have the energy for it. I have my belief systems. I listen. I make my own informed decisions. I don't need to hear a whole lot of rhetoric, and I'm just not going to contribute to it. I'm going to vote for who I feel like voting for my own reasons, and I don't need to put it on a platform, right? And because I don't need that. Like, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch a bunch of stuff where people are just like hateful and negative. I have no desire. But you can't always control that. So that's why if you're following somebody, let's say on Instagram or even Threads, because it's who you're following, or I guess Twitter, whatever, Facebook is probably my least favorite of them all, then pay attention to them. You don't always need to stay on your For You page. Like, you just don't, because you're going to get things that you may or may not want. But at the end of the day, you need to put a time limit on it. And if you feel like you really can't do it, then you put your phone. I've had a client do this, and it's been amazing. They've since brought back in their phone, and they've spent probably as much time, if not less than me, on it. And 21 minutes for the whole week is still a little bit longer than I wanted, but that's for 7 days, so you can do that math in your head. But yeah, so I'm working on it. But there's so many things that you can do. Your goals aren't going to meet themselves by you being on the phone. So you want to ask yourself what it is that you're distracting yourself from, what it is that you're really, really, really avoiding, and then you want to focus on that. Because you don't, like I said, I go on my Insta stories. Well, I'm not going to stay there long. I'll go and I'll look at a recipe. This is a great time for you to pick up a new hobby. Mine is crochet. I got my hands going. I can't be looking at socials. I can't be looking at my phone. I got my hands going. Now, again, I might have my phone on like a specific pattern if it's an advanced pattern. So I'll go back and I'll do my thing and I'll go back. That's not scrolling. That's using it for something positive. But you got to remind yourself, do not grab my phone first thing in the morning. Do not use it an hour before bed. Not 10 minutes, not 30 minutes, not 40 minutes, an hour before bed. That is a great time to do in the morning. Do your journaling. Do some of your journaling. Do some at night. Move your body, do some meditation, work on goals, declutter a drawer. Like, there's so many positive things that can contribute to your mental health versus being a detriment to it. So you got to ask yourself right now and be honest with yourself. How much time are you spending on socials? Not just on or on your phone, not even just socials. And you can see, regardless if you have an iPhone or a Droid or whatever, you can see how much time you've actually spent and then how much time you've allocated. I like to put it on a spreadsheet because it's easy to just bypass it on here. And just be aware of it. You might be coming off of 3 or 4 hours a day on your phone. Well, you can don't just babysit it for 5 minutes. Really, let's make some changes. I promise you, you're not missing out on anything. And I also promise you that the platforms themselves really don't care if you're there or not. Okay. So why would you not put yourself and your mental health in a good space? It's fine. Watch a little TV, have something going on in the background. That's fine. I mean, we all got to have some decompression. You can't always be self-help and healing. God, that'd be annoying. So that's your homework. You know, be honest with yourself. Again, remove, I think that's a great idea. What my client's friend does is they remove the apps and they keep them completely off. There are some people who will have their family member, like their spouse or whatever, have a passcode on the apps that they won't access until like later that Friday, and then the partner puts in the password, not on your phone, but on that specific app. You can create passwords for individual apps. And then if that's what you need and you got to be drastic with it, then do that. But it's going to be best for your mental health and for your progress.